this is a big one, and I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to stir up some thoughts, some questions. But I wanted to cover what happened recently at the Sundance Film Festival. During a film screening, one of the jurors of the festival who was deaf, I forget her name, but she was the mom in the movie Coda, which is an amazing movie. Go watch it. She couldn't basically enjoy the film because there was not any captions, and the device that she was handed to basically provide captions for her to enjoy the film malfunctioned. So in her case, she would just be sitting there watching, a movie with no sound, which isn't very enjoyable, and would be a waste of her time, and she's, a big actress, successful. She has better things to do than her time than to just sit there and play along with that. So she essentially walked out of the screening, and a lot of people followed along with her, and it kind of caused this stir about like, is Sundance being accessible? Is Sundance being inclusive? Should filmmakers be required to provide captions on their films? Sundance they recommend you provide captions, but it's not a requirement. And, I've seen a lot of people post online about this, kind of praising the walkout. And I don't know if I praise the walkout. Like, I'm not like, yeah, you go, walk out. But I am kind of like, I get it, I get why you walked out. Like I said, who's going to sit there and watch a movie with no sound on it when you're the only person who has to experience it that way? It's not fair. Honestly, it's just not fair. I get it. But I did feel bad for the filmmaker, and I don't hear many people talking about that. I've made short films. I went to film school. I don't quite identify myself as a filmmaker these days, but I have made short films, and they have gotten into film festivals, and it's a grind for filmmakers, especially low budget filmmakers. You're short on funds, you're short on time, you're short on energy, and you don't have a big staff doing these type of things for you. So if you're going to caption an entire feature film, I did the math. It's like, when I caption like a little short video that's like 30 seconds long, like that takes me, some time to do. It's not easy. And even with like Adobe Premiere, which is the software I use, they have this tool that automatically transcribes it for you, which didn't exist a couple years ago. Even with that tool, it still takes a lot of time because you got to, they don't exactly get the transcription right. You got to go in and fix certain words. And on the timeline, they may not actually line up, with what's being said. So you have to adjust the length of a sentence and what it's being said to. To be honest, it's an annoying task adding captions to videos. Like, it's not fun. So I get it, if it's not required, and the festival's also like, oh, we're going to provide, people who are in the deaf community, who are hard of hearing, a device that will provide captions for them. It's like, all right, as a filmmaker, you're like, I've already spent, 1,000 hours editing this film and getting it prepared for this festival. Let's let the festival handle that part. So I get it, and I also feel like it's unfair to these filmmakers because this is Sundance Film Festival. This is the mecca of independent film. And, if you're an independent filmmaker, and you're not trying to get into Sundance, then you're not dreaming big enough. Like, that's it. That's the big leagues. So I feel bad for them that this is their special night of their screening, and then people just walk out of it because Sundance didn't require them to provide captions. And then the device that they gave the juror who was deaf failed. Like, that's on the festival, in my opinion. Like, I know a lot of people were talking about, oh, they chose not to provide captions. And that's true. They did choose not to do that. They had the option to provide captions, which would have prevented this whole thing. That is true. But I bet all my money that most films submitted to Sundance did not come with captions. I bet money on it. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'd like to see where you get your information, but I just really doubt it. And but yeah, let me cover a little bit more about this so you can feel a little bit more understanding of it. This article says, Sundance jury walks out of Magazine Dreams premiere after festival fails to provide captioning for juror Marlee Matlin. Says jurors for Sundance's U.S. dramatic competition walked out of the premiere of Magazine Dreams on Friday night over an incident in which the festival failed to provide adequate captioning for deaf and hearing impaired audience members, including juror Marlee Matlin. Members of the dramatic jury, consisting of Jeremy O'Hara's blah, 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 decided to collectively walk out of the film as it began after a caption device provided to Matlin didn't work. While the device was repaired hours later, it underscored a larger issue that has played out behind the scenes regarding the festival's ability to make movies accessible to all viewers. The festival said the jurors intend to screen the film as a group before Sundance ends. It says, according to multiple sources, the jury has repeatedly expressed concerns to both Sundance and filmmakers that movies playing at this year's festival should come with open captions. It says that other international festivals such as Cannes and Venice, movies are captioned in multiple language on the screen. And on this year's application for credentials to Sundance, asked attendees if they needed access to captioning. However, multiple sources state that several filmmakers have declined the request to provide open captions on screen, citing the cost and time associated with making another print. Sources say that some buyers even suggested that including captions on screen could somehow hurt the film's asking prices on the market as they try to land distribution, which, by the way, I don't buy that. That's bullshit. Everyone's watching films with captions now. Like everything I watch, I have the captions on now. I love it. And most of my friends, most of my family do the same thing. It's just something that's kind of normalized now. I don't think anything's weird about it. Maybe in the 90s or 2000s, maybe it was weird, but definitely not now. I bet you that was just the producer being cheap, which they always are. So yeah, this whole event caused a lot of controversy, and the CEO of Sundance actually had to make a statement. She said, "Our goal was to make all experiences in person and online as accessible as possible for all participants. Our accessibility efforts are admittedly always evolving, and feedback helps drive it forward for the community as a whole." It says Sundance has gone to great lengths in the past to accommodate people with various disabilities as part of its stated mandate of inclusivity. It said this year, 2 ASL interpreters have accompanied festival leadership and filmmakers on stage, her opening remarks and Q&A sessions following screenings. So they're doing a lot. You know, they're not just not trying. And I think what this is and kind of what this showcases to me is that we're just not there yet. You know, when it comes to accessibility, people are working on it. You know, they're trying. They actually are trying. But until it's required, I don't think it's going to happen. And this leads me to a question, you know, like, why is it just captions? You know, if you're really going to be inclusive, shouldn't you have to provide a film with audio descriptions as well for those who are visually impaired or blind? That seems fair too. Like if you truly want to be inclusive, like we got to have that. We got to throw that out there. Where are the audio description requirements? You know, it's just something to think about. And I'm not sure. Maybe they are required, but I don't think they are. If captions aren't required, then I doubt that is, because audio descriptions are going to require, you know, someone doing a voiceover. You know, my first experience, you know, hearing audio descriptions was when I was hosting Steve from the RP show, when he came down from Manchester, United Kingdom, to stay with me, to go with me upstate for RP Fest, which I made a vlog on, which you may have seen. We were watching this show with my wife, and Steve was like, "Have you guys ever tried audio descriptions?" Because he uses them, and we put them on, and it was kind of this whole new world where it's like, let's give an example. Like, I'll just take a scene from The Goonies. Let's say Sloth is down in the basement, he's chained to the walls, and then Chunk, you know, shares that baby Ruth with him. You're going to hear the dialogue, you're going to hear the sound effects, you're going to hear the music, but you're not going to have like a full mental image painted into your mind without the help of, you know, audio descriptions, which would say something like, you know, in a dark basement, Sloth, a large man, sits in a chair chained to the walls. And without that description, someone who's low vision or blind is not really going to know what's happening on screen. So my point is, if captions are required, then audio description should be required. And that leads me to my next point. You got to require it, because if you don't require it, people aren't going to do it. And in my opinion, necessity equals innovation, because when you're required to do something that you don't want to do, that's not incredibly sexy. You know, when you're editing a film and you're making it look pretty and you're making it all flashy, it's sexy. And you're going to want to work on that because you want to create a sexy product. But when you're captioning your videos, like it's just like text on screen, like you're not like pumped up about that. You're not like, oh, I can't wait to caption my video today. That's the unsexy part. And that's where like someone developing a piece of software, you know, is going to speed that up and make that just kind of a click of a button, you know, for the most part. And it's there, and it's getting there. It's getting there, like I described with how I use Adobe Premiere to caption my videos. But my point is necessity, you know, kind of breeds innovation. Audio descriptions, like for example, I have this podcast. I never put them in my videos. I could be a lot better at, you know, including video descriptions in my posts online. image descriptions, alt text, etc. But at the end of the day, like, it's not required. So sometimes when I'm short on time, I just won't do it. And I'm a podcaster with RP talking about disabilities and blindness, and I'm someone who doesn't always do it. So like, it's hard work. It's extra steps that are not fun, that are not sexy. And to most of the non-disabled world, that they don't even know that this stuff even exists. They just view it as forced inclusion of something to roll their eyes at. In their eyes, like, oh, let's spend a week's worth of work for the one person in the audience who might be hard of hearing. But for that one person in the audience who's hard of hearing, they're going to feel really appreciative and love what you did. And they're going to support you as a filmmaker even more. So it's like, as a filmmaker, like, I guess my advice would be like, include everyone, think of everyone, try to be inclusive as possible. You'll get more people on your team. Again, I know it's not sexy. But I think it should be required, because I think when it's required, people will not want to do it. Therefore, they'll invent a tool that makes it faster and easier to do, which makes it more available, which makes more people actually doing it, providing, what's needed to really create like an inclusive, entertainment experience for people with disabilities. But yeah, I think this is an interesting story, and it happened at the greatest scale there is, Sundance. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. If you have a different opinion than me, or you agree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. But yeah, what a controversial thing to happen at something like Sundance. It's interesting.